This is the Line 6 DL4 Mark II. It's the successor to the legendary DL4 Mark I. I pre-ordered this pedal the day it was announced in 2022 because I needed a new delay pedal and because I figured that if the original DL4 was good enough for Bill Frisell and Omar Rodriguez Lopez, then this one would be more than good enough for me. But what I didn't know is how one accidental discovery would change how I use this pedal forever. So today, we're diving into why it's so important to experiment and learn your gear because it can save you money. Also, I'm going to show you some cool sounds that I've found in this pedal. When I first got the DL4, I didn't have time to experiment with it. I had shows coming up with Daryl Saves Lives, so I programmed 3 basic delay sounds and didn't touch them at all for months. It wasn't until a few months later when I was experimenting with the unit at my parents' place that I discovered something strange. I was messing around with a pitch shifted delay setting when I had an idea. What if I increased the rate of the delay all the way up to its fastest setting and raised the mix all the way to 100%? I did this and all of a sudden I didn't have a delay anymore. I had just a pitch affected sound that worked in real time. I was so excited in fact that I actually recorded a video on my phone immediately after discovering this feature. I felt so accomplished after this. I made the DL4 do something that it wasn't supposed to do. I felt like a hacker or a mad scientist. It felt great. That moment got me thinking, if I could get one unexpected sound out of the DL4, how many more could I get? I pondered that thought while I was at my parents', but once I left, I kind of just moved on. Life got busy and I didn't really care about experimenting with it anymore. I had more shows coming up with DSL, so I needed my core sounds, and because I wasn't experimenting, I kind of started falling out of love with the DL4. When I was redoing my pedal board this year, I was seriously considering selling my DL4 Mark II because I was having a bad case of gear envy. Since I owned 2 other delay pedals, I figured it would be worth it to sell the DL4 Mark II to get the pedal I really wanted, a Line 6 M9 multi-effects pedal. I figured the M9 would be way better for my board than the DL4 because it's more versatile, it has more sounds, and I would get more use out of it. But there was a problem. I couldn't find an M9 for a good price used, and someone else locally was selling a Line 6 DL4 Mark II, meaning that I couldn't really sell the pedal locally at least, and I didn't want to sell it online. So I had 2 options. 1, suck it up and buy one, and 2, make do with what I had. And I chose the latter because of some advice from my dad. I've mentioned it before in past videos, but my dad has had a huge influence on me in how I approach gear. From a very young age, he encouraged me to learn my equipment really well so that I knew how to push it and get it to do things that it wasn't quote-unquote capable of doing. He would tell me stories about his time working in film and television, but also tell me stories about bands like the Beatles and how they had to get creative with the equipment they had at their disposal. These lessons and stories he's told me have stuck with me to this day. So with my dad's advice in the back of my mind, I started experimenting. I would go through each delay sound in the DL4 and see what I could do to make it not sound like a delay, and if the sound that I got was actually usable. And surprisingly, I found quite a few usable sounds in the DL4 that weren't delay sounds. These sounds were hiding in the DL4, and I never found them because I never experimented with it. Because of this, my desire to buy a Line 6 M9 cooled down, at least temporarily. Now let's talk about money. When I used to live at home, I would spend money recklessly on gear. I would buy and sell all the time, never actually buying what I really wanted, instead buying stuff for good prices, good deals, and never really being that happy. And honestly, I regret that a lot now. I'm going to dive deeper into this in a future video, but basically I put more emphasis on buying gear rather than making music, which if you think about it, it kind of defeats the whole purpose of owning gear to begin with. These days I'm way more cautious with my money overall, and it takes a lot for me to justify a new piece of gear. So whenever I can hold off on buying something and make what I have already work for me, that's a huge win. Whether that's a week, a year, 10 years, 20 years, whatever. As long as I get some extra time without having to spend money, I view that as a very good thing. And pushing my DL4 has not only led me to saving money, but it's also led me to some really cool new sounds that I would never have found. These sounds have inspired riffs and songs that I may have never written if I never experimented. Now, will I buy a Line 6 M9 someday? Yes, I want one really badly. And will it replace my DL4? It might, I'm not 100% sure. But even if it does, I'm really happy with how much I pushed the DL4, and I don't have any regrets with it at all. But that's all I got for today. Now I'd love to hear from you. What's a hidden feature you discovered on a piece of gear? Let me know in the comments down below and let's have a discussion. If you're interested in learning more about the Line 6 DL4 or potentially buying one, I have a Sweetwater link down below. If you do decide to buy it, I receive a small commission on the sale. It's a great and easy way to support the channel if you're looking at buying some new gear. But anyways, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. It really helps out a ton. If you'd like to follow me on my other social media accounts or check out my band Daryl Saves Lives music, I have a Linktree link on the screen and in the description box. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. My name's Colji, and I'll see you in the next one.